So, welcome to this week's episode of The Happy Psychic, and I am joined this week by Rhiannon Heins. Welcome, Rhiannon. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, Gemma. It's so awesome to be here.
Yes, it's very good to have you here. Now, you are on the opposite side of the world to me. Whereabouts are you today?
So I am in Margaret River in Western Australia. So I'm about a 3.5 hour drive south of Perth. So I'm very isolated. I'm in a very isolated place in the world, but it's very beautiful here.
That's sometimes a good thing, though, isolation.
It feels right for me right now, that's for sure.
That's good. That's all that counts. Now, I understand that earlier on in your career, you had a yoga studio, you were a body worker. So tell us a little bit more about how you even went into that before you ended up to where you are now, which is your authoring and your energy practitioner training,
Yeah,
energy work
sure.
practitioner. Yeah.
Sure, I'd love to. So everything has built on one thing at a time. It's like I wouldn't be where I am now without every little piece of my past being exactly where it was. And so when I was 17 and I first left school, I was like quite academic and I was very wanting to achieve and get everyone's approval and do a really good job at life. So I left school and I did accounting and at university because that just felt like it would be a good idea. So I did that and I got a scholarship and a job that was like aligned with that whole industry. And this is at a really young age, like 18. I was getting a train into the city, doing this accounting thing, doing this uni thing. And I was like, if this is my life, I want to die. I just felt like I can't do this. I can't do this existence. And it was very obvious to me that I had to do a path that was somewhere on the opposite end of the spectrum. So I did one semester of accounting. And then I left, and then I was like, what can I do that is the opposite of sitting by myself looking at numbers? And I was like, I think just being with people, putting my hands on someone's body. So I did remedial massage. Like, so this is pretty much straight out of school. I did remedial massage and like aromatherapy and reflexology and all these body work modalities. And I really, really enjoyed it. And what I was learning was very physical. All of my trainings were very in the physical and lots around like sports and remedial therapy. But I found that the times that I was enjoying my work the most were when people just wanted me to indulge them with love, like people wanted to come in and relax. And I was like, yes, yes, yes. And I just wanted to close my eyes and I put nice music on. I wanted to just give them love, like with my presence. And I noticed from a really young age that if my mind wasn't busy when I was massaging and I was just with them 100% with my presence, that they were having these really beautiful experiences. Um, so when I was 23, then I was lecturing in remedial massage. Like, luckily, I found this path really young, so it seems like I did everything at a really young age. But again, when I was lecturing, it was at like a more like a sports massage remedial type college. And with my students, I just wanted to like sit them down and talk them through the magic of presence when you're massaging. I just wanted to share that revelation that had come to me around how you can really make an impact through your body work. So I quickly like moved on really from that college because it didn't serve me, and an opportunity opened. An opportunity opened literally a month after I'd done a yoga teacher training. So I'd done the yoga teacher training alongside working in remedial massage, and it was meant to be just for me. Everyone that does a teacher
Mhm.
training, it's like, I don't want to be a yoga teacher. I just want to do it for me. So I was just kind of in that mindset. And then this guy at my work, this guy at the college, he was like, I've just opened a gym and there's this space out the back of the gym. And I don't know what to do with it. It's like I need a yoga studio or a Pilates studio there. And I was like, what? This feels like it's for me, but I've only taught like 2 yoga classes. It can't be for me. I would be a total fraud if I opened a studio right now. But I went and looked at the space anyway, and I got these like goosebumps, like this electricity through my body. And it's like, I now know that that is spirit like do it. And that was the first time that I kind of got that electricity. And I was like, I am so scared. I do not want to open a studio. What if it fails? Blah, blah, blah. But I did it, and I opened the studio and I left my job to do that, to start this business. And it just went really, really well, because there wasn't anyone really doing what that was at the time in my hometown, in my city of Perth. And that's allowing people to find freedom on their yoga mat. So it's also like offering a sequence, but then inviting intuitive movement in, and inviting like play in, and play through the body, play through music, play through like whatever it was for that teacher. And people were longing for that. And I then opened a second studio, and then we started to do teacher trainings. So I found as well in my yoga teaching that my most authentic truth, my most magical moments were like in Shavasana, at the end when you're laying down after yoga. And I would just like want to put my hands on some people's bodies, like some people's hearts, and just rest my hands on their chest. And I always pick the right person. I'd get the tear rolling down their cheek, when you just know. I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is where I want my energy to be. And I was channeling more and more at this time as well, and starting to channel for my friends and my family, starting to like bring my magic of my bodywork back. And it just evolved. The bodywork basically dropped out completely. And I started to just only work in the energetic realm, because as I noticed at the start, it was my presence that was creating
Mhm.
change. So I just was bringing that aspect of my work in with my channeling, and allowing myself to just forget everything that I've learned. Like just allowing myself to just forget everything, and just to do what my heart was telling me to do with every single client. And over the years, that's become wilder and freer. And it involves my voice, it involves instruments, and always my presence. And that's where I'm at now. And now I'm teaching this style of energy work. So that's the journey.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know what, I can totally resonate with that actually as well from my personal journey, because I find that there are so many teachers out there that teach us how to do a certain thing a certain way, or, are
Mm,
quite like rigid, you know,
mm,
programs almost in how we're taught. But actually, if we listen to that voice inside of us and to spirit and to where we're being guided and what we're being guided to do, like spirit is our greatest teacher. They will
mm,
really teach us. And then now you have that, you're able to give people the framework in order to take that on and do it
mm.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Spirit is absolutely the only teacher, isn't it? And it's like the modalities, the systemized programs, I feel that they empower us with confidence. Then
Mm-hmm.
once we get that transmission and it's integrated, it's our job then to the next initiation is to let it go.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, without a doubt. I know because I did Usui Reiki and I'm a Reiki
Mm,
master, but I don't do Reiki the way that I was taught. And in fact, I don't even call it Reiki anymore. I just call it energy
yeah,
healing. And I don't follow
yeah.
that structure. I just do whatever spirit are telling me to do at that particular time.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I feel
Yeah.
like Reiki is such a powerful initiator for so many healers, to give us. My mum's a Reiki master as well, so I've received her magic
Hmm.
transmissions of that
Hmm.
over my through my life. And it gives us that permission, doesn't it, Reiki, to
Yeah.
call ourselves a healer, like to allow us to recognize that we're conduits for divine energy. And then
Yeah.
once we know that we are that conduit, then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I can let that word go.
Yeah, very much so. Oh, that's amazing. Now, I'm very intrigued about your intuitive channeling that you do as well. Like
Mm.
you did talk a little bit about, getting more into your channeling and channeling for other people, but was there a particular point that you reached where you realized that you were a channel, or is that something you've always really been aware of?
Yeah, there was a particular point. There was definitely a particular point. I know that as a child, I was very sensitive. I'm very, very sensitive, but also very like had this amazing ability to observe my experience as a human, as a child, and it almost felt like I would get thrown out of my body and be almost confused about where I was or who I was. I remember feeling that as a child. I thought, who is Rhiannon? And it would be quite trippy, and I still get it now. So I remember having that beautiful connection to my higher self, I suppose, that my soul aspect as a child. Obviously, I didn't associate it with being that at the time. But then I definitely forgot that magic. And it was when I started to dive into yoga really, really intensely. Because when I dived into yoga, I dived into meditation. And I really, when I say dived into it, it was my entire existence. And with that, I changed what I was eating, I changed my lifestyle. I was very committed to my spiritual practice. And I was spending a lot of time mastering my mind, like mastering that monkey mind to be able to get to a point where I wasn't really thinking about anything useless at all. I was having really productive thoughts or a lot of productive thoughts or future manifestation thoughts, or I was pretty clear basically. And then at that point, so this is maybe like 7 years ago, right? And then at that point, I was playing with oracle cards, playing with tarot cards, and starting to explore the tarot. But my memory is just was not good with it. I just couldn't remember what the tarot cards meant. Oh my God. And I tried to study, I just couldn't remember. But the more I used these cards, the more I felt them. It's like, and I felt that they were an extension of me. And I needed to not be able to remember the book because this was my initiation.
Mhm.
As I was using the deck, I just knew what each card was telling me. I'd close my eyes and I would get this voice through my higher mind, um, like a divine thought form from a clear mind. So, like, that higher communication. And I would be told what the transmission was for that card. And at the start, I was like, I wonder if that's true. But I started to then trust, and the trust started to take it to the next level. And this kind of, I guess, it was very clairaudient at the start. This very clairaudient voice came through with my cards, and then the cards, I realized they were just talking points. I didn't need them. So I got rid of the cards and then started to make the talking points my own line of questioning. And yeah, so I was doing like tarot and readings for people for a while, and something didn't feel in full alignment. I was like, this isn't my calling. This isn't the best use of my ability to channel. And then when my channeling went to the next level was when I realized that I could channel for people before their session. And I
Yeah.
would be told exactly how to work with them beyond their stories, beyond their ideas and their attachments to
Hmm.
the outcome. And I would be told like multidimensional representations of what needed to move, like this woman, she's holding like a stone in her womb and she's gonna she needs to help, you need to help her birth it out of her womb, and that's going to clear ancestral trauma. And I would just be, okay. And every single time I would channel, I would 100% always roll with it. And my sessions started to get so profound because there was no agenda from my own mind or their own mind.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's my channeling now.
That's amazing. And your book, did you channel your book as well? You've got a new book coming out, The Keepers of the Light Codes, coming out in October, everybody. So how did that book come about? And apologies, everybody, I have a bit of a cold at the minute, so I keep coughing. So apologies.
Oh, you're doing well. There's nothing worse. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so the book comes out on October 1st, and yeah, it is it's a channeled book. It's I didn't intend to write a book. It would If someone would have told me I was to write a book, I would have said that sounds way too hard.
oh,
But like when I would put my kids to bed a couple of years ago, I would really enjoy just sitting in a room by myself, because at this point my husband was working away, and I would just go into this really nice cozy room and have a cup of tea, and I'd get out my journal and I would just start to tune in and just write, just listen. And I would just write a few pages a night and then go to bed. And then over time, I realized that each page, each night that I was doing it, there was a flow on from the last. And then I stopped doing it in my journal because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to rewrite all of this. And I started just doing it on my computer. And then when I started doing it on my computer, Spirit was just like, okay, she's taking this seriously now. And then it was like, and I had no time to stop. And then it became very clear after a couple of months that this was a book. And then once I had that motivation, nothing could stop me. I was just obsessed. And anytime I got that feeling like Spirit was trying to connect, I just went straight to my computer and just write.
And just that was it, and that's how it came about. And so tell me
Yeah.
about what is the book about? Tell us a bit about the book.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful and interesting topic that's probably going to challenge us all a lot. So it's an invitation, right, to remember your mastery, to initiate your mastery. And it's come now at this point in 2022 because so many of us have been on this spiritual journey for a long time, probably, or you definitely have, I have, and probably a lot of your listeners have. So we've been working through our traumas, working on our shadow aspect, working on mind mastery. And then it gets to a point in your ascension, in your self-realization, where it's like, okay, is this still a journey from A to B? Is this still a linear journey, or is there a different way that I can approach this now, where I realize that in this present moment, I'm it, I'm done. And then that is just a change in energy. That's a change in perception. And if you're it, if you're done, if you're healed, if you're realized, does it change the way you approach your life? Does it change the way you approach today? And the answer is like, yes, it changes a hell of a lot. So the book is a series of 9 lessons and 28 initiations. And each one systematically peels back any resistance that we have to that notion, any resistance that we have to remembering our mastery. So the practices, the initiations, they are practical. They are a practical transmission of releasing that resistance.
So it's really about getting us back to who we are, or who we are on a soul level, really.
Yeah, and it's also about stepping into our highest purpose, right? So on the spiritual path, on the spiritual journey, a lot of it is about ourself, right? Like, how can I heal more? How can I have a better life? How can I find more joy? And when we go from 3D kind of asleep people
Yeah.
in the dream spell, we need to focus on ourselves because we need to peel back these veils one at a time. We need to learn to love every aspect of ourselves. It needs to be focused like that. But then when we get to a point where we can realize that, as you say, we are perfect, we are whole, we are done, then our focus turns outward. Our focus turns outward into service. How can I best serve this humanity to help anchor heaven on earth? And then we remember when we set that intention, we are assisted with our divine purpose, however that looks in any moment. And once we step into the life path of fulfilling that purpose day by day, then we're always going to heal anything that we need to, anything that's going to challenge us or resist that purpose is going to show up for healing. So it's not like a turning away from our own personal healing, but it's a turning outward to look into service and then to ask, how can I best fulfill that mission? And anything that isn't in alignment with that mission, bring it to light now so that I can love it into wholeness. So the book is an invitation for humanity to remember our own unique soul gifts so that we can live them out as our divine mission here as loving human beings, and so that we can change this planet that is so ready to change and is already
Yeah.
changing.
That's why we're here. That's why we're
Yeah.
here. Why you've been working so hard all these years to get to this point, to
Yeah.
help others, help us change. That's amazing. So, and your book's out on October 1st?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. October
And
1st.
where will people be able to buy your book?
So I'll keep it easy. You can probably get it any online store, but just head to Amazon and grab it there.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
fab. Now you
Yeah.
also do training as well on via your
Yeah.
website for energy work, energy practitioner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about
So,
that.
yeah, so this is my work that brings me so much joy, and it's something that's expanding and growing very rapidly at the moment, because I want to share the method that I've cultivated over all these years. Like, as I explained before, when I channel before people come, I'm given this like personalized instruction manual for how to create the deepest and most profound change possible for that person at that time. With that intention, that's what I ask for in my channeling, and that's what I'm given. And then I follow that 100%. So when someone walks through the door, it doesn't matter what their story is, it doesn't matter what they want from the session. I follow the instructions and do that. And then beyond anything that they can control, there is a response in their body. There is a response. There is the traumas that are ready to be activated and loved and released are the aspect of themselves that is ready to be initiated and step up is whatever they are ready for, and whatever spirit needs from them right then and there, it happens because that's the intention. So this is a method that has been gifted to me, I guess. I've been guided to it, and it's so embedded in what I do and who I am now that I just have to share it with people, because there are, as we discussed before, as you mentioned, like there are so many healers, Reiki practitioners, and they're limited um by their modality, I guess. They're limited by a fixed modality, and they want to break free. Like so many healers have this huge restriction at the throat chakra because they want to sing, they want to get a drum, they want to tone, they know that their client needs to release a roar, but they don't know how to guide them into it. There's so many intuitive healers that know this on some level, and they don't know how to act it out or embody it, or take their clients there. So this is a modality that I've created to give healers or aspiring healers permission to really take their clients into the deepest layers of their healing, the deepest layers of their transformation through channeling, through breath, through multidimensional visualization, through sound of the voice, sound of instruments. And and yeah, it's really amazing to witness how people who don't even think they can channel, who don't even think they're intuitive, are figuring out and starting to channel, starting to get these amazing insights into their clients before they've even met them. And yeah, that's the work that I'm doing right now.
That's amazing. That's really, really amazing. So, how can people find you online?
Wow, as we discussed, I'm having a bit I'm having a bit of a website meltdown today, so I feel nervous to even say the site, but I'll say it. So it's rhiannonheins.com. I think by the time this airs, it should be well and truly aired out.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I'm confident that it will be. I'm confident that it will be. And then what about
Yeah.
on the socials? Where can people
Yeah.
find you on
So
social media?
rhiannonheins.com, or just head to my Instagram, which is Rhiannon Heins, and there you can get access to all of my links to check out my book and to join my practitioner training, which right now is online, but next year there's going to be 7-day retreat practitioner certifications as well. So
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, brilliant. Oh, well, it has been so good speaking to you today. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm looking forward to see the success of the book whenever it comes out.
Thank you, Gemma. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so beautiful to chat.
Thank you much for joining.